Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm here to talk about my hopes for the improvement of PvP in the upcoming Battle for Azeroth expansion. Since the end of Mists of Pandaria, PvP has seen a gradual decline in visibility and participation. Our community isn't thriving, it's not competing with the size of the PvE community, and it's not growing. I feel that if and when these issues are addressed, the WoW PvP experience may become a more positive one. Jumping right into number 5, I would love to see PvP gear that is powerful, reliable, and most importantly, consistent. I take issue with the fact that PvE content is still the easiest and most effective way to gear up quickly for competitive PvP, and the strongboxes provided by Battlegrounds and Arena are entirely RNG based. I still don't understand why Blizzard removed the Honor/Conquest gearing system. It provided a dependable way to acquire gear when you got bad RNG, it distinguished more experienced players from the less experienced, and most importantly, gearing up for PvP was done by PvPing. When PvE has an equivalent in the form of Nether Shards and Veiled Argonite, why can't PvPers enjoy that same level of consistency? Number 4. Return gear customization. I previously enjoyed walking into PvP with the intent on making use of typically underpowered and underplayed talent options and stat choices. Whether it be a mastery-based Frost Mage, a crit-based Holy Priest, or a haste-based Destruction Warlock, I really found enjoyment in customizing and playing off-meta strategies. When Blizzard announced the stat template for PvP going forward, I was honestly pretty crushed. Sure, this feature provides Blizzard with the tools to further balance the classes, but with melee running around decimating any character that opens up their mouth to speak, or Mistweaver monks out-healing an entire raid of Restoration Shamans, or Affliction Warlocks killing said melee while also doing more healing than said Mistweaver, it seems Blizzard Entertainment isn't exactly balancing classes anyway. What's the point of stat templates when imbalance isn't being addressed? Number 3. Unpruned Classes. This already sort of ties in with number 2, but the term the pruning has probably been in use since early Warlords of Snorbor and has been complained about ever since. I do believe the rotation and mechanics of most classes in Legion right now is actually fine the way it is. What I really want to see going forward is the return of abilities like Old Grounding Totem, Hibernate, and Deep Freeze, ability that added niche and nuance to each class. The utilization of these abilities separated an average player from a skilled player. Learning and taking advantage of abilities like these showed development and improvement of the player, and I really miss that. I want to see more spells requiring skill or setup that reward you for theory crafting and experimenting, and we really just don't see that in Legion PvP right now. This brings me to another point beneath this umbrella, and that would be the honor talents. Now I know the PvP ability system in BfA has already been revealed, but I already don't agree with the new system's direction. This new system does not fix the issues in our current honor talents, where one particular ability is the only viable option, and exploring the two talents is actively discouraged. I feel this new system will adopt the same issue, basically like glyphs with no options or customizability. I want to see people experimenting, customizing. I want to see diversity of class, spec, and talent builds within those specs, but in Legion, we just don't see that. We see a lot of streamlining and homogenization, and PvP gets really stale on the same maps for years. The one thing that keeps PvP a unique, fun, and relevant experience is reaction and adaptation to the meta, whatever other players are doing. That, in essence, is PvP, and what is PvP if that aspect is removed? Number 2, accessibility of the competitive scene. Now, I've always found the competitive scene in WoW to be so tight-knit and difficult to get started in. It's all about connections, all about who you know instead of what you know, and this needs to be fixed. As a community, we're effectively crippling ourselves as we block out new players with a wall of toxicity and elitism, and we hemorrhage more and more of our mid-core participants to progression rating, and sometimes even other games. We're stifling our own growth, and people wonder why PvP isn't going anywhere, why it's so toxic, and why the raiding community is flourishing so much compared to us. We are losing our influence and voices in the game because casuals and new players aren't given an incentive to move from random battlegrounds to rated arena and RBGs. This problem is caused by and exacerbated by 3 easily identifiable issues that ultimately need to be addressed if we ever want to see PvP survive and thrive. A. Lack of class balance. B. Lack of rewards and incentives compared to the consistency of raiding and PvE content. And C. Elitism. It's that simple. These 3 issues that have been around since the beginning, issues that Blizzard has failed to improve, are the reasons that PvP is seeing a slow decline in participation. We, as a community, need to recognize and eradicate these toxic factors if we ever want to move forward. Number 1. Closing the disparity between melee and ranged classes. I put this as my number 1 choice only because it's incredibly annoying. If I weren't playing a squishy frost mage with 0 self-healing to speak of, I would have put accessibility to competitive scene as number 1. I find this particularly frustrating because there seems to be this crazy duality with casters that wasn't present during the apex of PvP back in Mists or even during Warlords of Snorbor. When casters like Frostmage, Affliction Warlocks, Shadow Priests, Boomkins, classes typically named as the PvP spec, are left alone, they decimate anything in their path, dealing massive amounts of damage. But when they're accidentally tapped from behind by a Death Knight's sword handle, they crumple like paper. I don't like this. I don't like feeling as if my class is forced to rely on other classes to peel and protect me if I want to be effective at doing my job. No other role has to do with this issue. Healers don't require other healers to do their job effectively. They don't require other classes to peel and protect them. I mean, look at Mistweaver. Mistweavers can heal an entire party of people while they have like 6 people hitting their face. Tanks don't require other tanks to do their job effectively, nor do they require healers, frankly. Physical DPS, specifically melee classes like Warrior, Death Knight, and Demon Hunter, don't require the assistance of any other roles to obliterate healers or claw-these. The gap closers of melee are off the charts. An Arcane Mage equipped with 3 different blinks, up to 2 charges of an AoE root, and a polymorph can barely escape the likes of a Warrior, Demon Hunter, or Death Knight. That's an issue. The defensive cooldowns of melee are off the charts. Blood Death Knights have 5 healing abilities with short cooldowns, and that number only increases with talent choices. As a Fire Mage, the only mage spec with a heal, mind you, has up to 2 talent choices included that heal for a maximum of 30% of your health over 12 seconds. That's an issue. The damage of melee is off the charts. Most melee can get a Frost Mage down to 10% health before they can cast enough Frost Bolts for a single Glacial Spike. That's an issue. I'm not asking for the damage of mages, priests, warlocks, boomies, elemental shamans, hunter, or whatever else to be increased. Actually, we probably need quite the opposite. What I am asking for is that the survivability of ranged classes be increased, and vice versa for some melee classes, particularly Blood, DK, and Guardian Druid. When I feel as if the only way I can win against a tank class, even with 2 other DPS backing me up, is by spamming Greater Pyroblast, which does health percentage base damage, mind you. There is, unquestionably, an issue with class balance, a disparity between melee and ranged classes. That's all, folks. Those are my 5 hopes for BfA PvP improvements, and I hope Blizzard does what they can to address those issues. Thanks for watching, everyone, and don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Tyraskar Dawnchaser, signing off.